G'day everybody, where's Wally here. Hey, today I've got a fun one. Now, Will, I love you, man, but I have to say, why are we looking at lights in the sky when we can go to the sky and look back at the Earth and literally just see the shape? Now, Polaris Dawn mission is currently slated for the 27th of August 2024, so in a few days. The SpaceX Dragon will be flying higher than ever before at around 700 kilometers up. Now, they intend to do this first commercial spacewalk and test out the SpaceX spacesuits, which will be really cool. Oh, sidebar, because the Dragon doesn't have an airlock, all of the crew get to be in suits depressurized in the cabin before opening the hatch in the nose of the Dragon. 2 crew get to step outside and the other 2 get to sit inside in their suits in the vacuum and I guess wait and see. Sidebar within a sidebar. We've all heard flatties complain that they never test spacesuits in a vacuum, but they do it underwater in the ISS pool. Well, have a listen to this little snippet.
When we're in the vacuum with 100% oxygen into the spacesuits, we want to eliminate as many flammability risks as possible.
So did you catch it? While testing in a vacuum. So they do exactly what you say they should do after all. Who would have known? One of the many things that they are testing is space-based laser link connection via a freaking laser beam in the back of the Dragon. Now, with all that bandwidth, what do we all hope that they will be streaming back to us? Yes, I'm waiting to see the glorious backdrop to all this activity at 700 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. I can just hear the flurfs crying CGI already. And as if this wasn't devastating enough to the cult of flurf, there is yet another mission that I really am even more excited about. But first, some backstory. Now, we all know about One More Orbit, right? Flat Earth killer extraordinaire. Well, the flurfs are also aware of how devastating One More Orbit is, and they're trying to nerf it any way they can. Okay, let's have a look at this professional and yet pathetic attempt.
When you look at the one thing that would prove the globe Earth, or the one thing that would disprove the flat Earth, what is it?
I don't know, you tell me.
It would be a linear flight path, okay? A linear traverse directly down past South America, down to Antarctica, and without breaking that straight linear path, continuing through the continent and back up the other side into the Indian Ocean. Like, this would literally end the debate.
Notice the frequent use of the word linear. Now, this is a very common flirth tactic to make in the hopes of nerfing One More Orbit. So as soon as they see the turn, the hands go in the air and screams of fake and disappointment all around, and they're shouting, see, told ya.
It would be the single biggest piece of evidence for the global model.
They've done it already. It was called One More Orbit.
Right.
Exactly right. One More Orbit did fly due south to the South Pole, with 90 degrees south, then due north to Ponta Arenas. Now listen to the complaining about not flying straight across.
Except they actually didn't look at their flight path. So they left off the tip off South Africa, they went to the 90-degree South Pole mark, and then they literally hit a sharp 60-degree turn towards South America. They never crossed over. They didn't even alternate sides of the hemisphere. They evaded a linear path.
My God. What the hell? No, it can't be.
Yeah, man, I know. Globers will still refer to the One More Orbit expedition as if it disproves anything.
So it seems One More Orbit didn't fly straight enough for the flatties. I bet if they had, then the complaint would have shifted to the direction that they flew. And Banjo says some of the oddest things, that Antarctica has been crossed east to west but not north to south. Yeah, that one hurts my head. So what the hell, Banjo? If you are on the coast of Antarctica and you go east or west, you are circling around Antarctica. You must go south to get to the pole, and once you're at the pole, you can only go north to get back to the coast. Sidebar, regardless which longitude you pick to travel along from the South Pole, they are all north. Antarctica is rather confusing like that. Then I bet if crossing was across Antarctica in different great circles, then the complaint would go to, oh, they only did it one time, dude. They need to repeat the experiment to be scientific, hey? So now, to be acceptable to flirtdom, it needs to be straight. It needs to be along multiple and varied longitude lines, and it needs to be repeated many times. Meeting such demands would be almost impossible to do. Actually, sir, it'll be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Enter Chung Wang, and Fram too. Chung Wang is a crypto guru. He started mining Bitcoin in China back in 2011. Then he started a mining pool company back in 2013, and he became stupidly rich after that when crypto coins went to the moon. Now, Chung wanted to do something new and go to space. However, when he realized he could set the mission parameters himself if he had just bought the whole mission, I guess he thought to himself, why not? So Chung loves ice and snow and flying and visiting as many countries as possible. Oh, sidebar, he has a side quest to visit every country in the world, and currently he's at around 51%. He's visited 127 of the 249, and the countries are defined according to the ISO standard 3166. ISO standards. My kind of guy. Another fun fact is that this will be the highest inclination orbit to ever be flown with humans on board. Previous record was the Soviet Vostok 6 mission in 1963 when Valentina Tereshkova spacecraft reached an angle of 65.1 degrees. Now, Fram2 will be flying repeatedly and directly over the poles, which is a 90-degree inclination orbit. So this will be one for the record books. First polar orbit with a manned crew. Now, as for the height, Chung has set that height to be around 450 kilometers, so a little bit higher than the ISS. Now, I have to find out more information about the orbital parameters. Assuming it goes off in December as planned, it will be flying over Antarctica in the full sun every pass, and it will be fully night every time it passes over the North Pole. And in between, there will be a transition and a dawn-dusk opportunity to spot Fram2, so get the telescopes out, guys. Now back to those demands of one more orbit. So all this will mean that Fram2 will pass over the South Pole every 90 minutes. Sidebar, there will be no need to assume antipodal positioning. And sidebar within a sidebar, Nathan, when you parrot the phrase antipodal positioning, you must specify where from. Antipodal is a relative term after all, mate. Okay, as I was saying, we will know that it's Antarctica as we'll be able to look out the freaking window and see it below. And we will be orbiting straight across at each pass too. So that's the straight across problem ticked off well and truly. And a pass every 90 minutes is roughly every 22.5 degrees. That means that each pass will be rotated and the longitude will be varied by 22.5 degrees, approximately. So that's the do it from all the different possible angles problem ticked off even better. And every 90 minutes means 16 passes in one 24-hour period. So I guess that means the repeatability issue is also well and truly ticked off. I can't wait to see just how the flatties are going to cope with all of this. Not only do they have the final experiment, now they have Polaris Dawn and the direct visualization of the planet from 700 kilometers up, and Fram2 and the direct visualization of Antarctica as well. Isn't this a great time to not be a flatty? Thanks, guys.